Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of our SQL Mastery series. In a part 1 we have learned what is the SQL. In a today's video we are going to learn what is the database architectures in a SQL. So in the last video we have learned we have created one SQL client. One SQL client is nothing but SSMS, SQL Management Studio, and we send the request to a database. Like we have created the bank database, we send the request to the database to fetch the data. But consider this as a database. But when we create the database, the data stores into a structural format. Structural format is the table format which stores the data. Haven't learned that where the database actually store data is the stores into a database, and the but where the actual database is the store. So database is the actually store into a place. That place is called server. Like we have, this is the banking database. We have in a server we can have the multiple database. It can be have the product database that store into, like, the numbers of the database stores into a specific location. So that location is called a server. The server can be a local, there are two: local, or we can say server can be a cloud. Server, like the server is the two connected part. For first we can see is the software engine. First is the software engine. We have discussed in the last part is RDBMS. What RDBMS do? Basically, it's receive the command, like it's send the request, interpret them, and fetch the data, and enforce the rule, like enforce the follows the rule, like the security and the data integrity. And the second part is the hardware. Hardware, we can say hardware is like the actual physicals over the cloud machine with the CPU, RAM, and the storage device that power the, we can say, engine, like the software engine. So server, when we create the server, we database stores into the specific location. For the specific location on the system, we require the CPU, RAM, and the storage also to store the different database. In SQL, the server is the, like, the central systems where the database engines runs. It acts like a brain that like we can say that listen for the incoming SQL queries, execute them, and manage the actual store data. It's manage the actual store data in a database format. When we create the database, the specific server to file has been generated. First is the MDF file. Sorry, MDF file. Second is the LDF file. What is the MDF file? .mdf is the master file, we can say master data file in a SQL server. Data inside in this master MDF file store in a structure, or the, we can say, store in the structure format. Structure format is nothing but a table format. uh, it's managed by, we can say, engine, that RDBMS SQL server engines. It does not say, we can say, raw data over any raw data over, we can say, chunk data. Instead of, it's organized everything into pages. So in a MDF, data is organized into pages. Okay, this is the page. In a pages, data is the organized into a database. So each page size is the 8 KB. So we can extend this page into MDF. MDF is, we can say, consider as a database. We can extend this database size into a, we can say, 64 KB. 64 KB, like 8 KB multiply by 8 KB, 64. Why we extend this specific size till the 64 KB? If the SQL server allocate the disk page disk space of a 1 KB, one page is nothing but the 8 KB. It will be constantly have to ask operating system for a tiny disk space. Database gets slow by running, because by grouping the 8 into 8 pages, like extend the SQL manage the disk space much faster and reduce the disk fragmentation. So it will get the much faster, and also fragmentations get reduced. Database create the one page. In the one page we have like, this is the consider this is the one page get the created into a database MDF file. In the that one page is nothing, one page is 8 KB, and have a header, and also the data stores into a table format. And if you see in a header, stores the metadata informations is like the metadata informations we have, like the page ID is a page 1, page 2, page 3, or page type, free space, how many free space present into that pages. This information stores, and the data is like, we can say, data rows, actual data, so store sequentially in a row format. And second we file is generate is LDF. Log file is generated. LDF is nothing but the log file. Okay. So when we create the database, these two files got generated by default. LDF is basically used for action history, action history plus, we can say, recovery log. Recovery log in a considers we have a production database, productions like the banking database. In a banking database we are updating the 10 million record. Okay, in a 10, when we are updating the 10 million record, after updations of the 5 million record, considers if the some power cut issues, any issue occurs, and that time database is the shutdown. So this operation has not been completed for the full time, because some records got updated but some records is not updated. So we want to recover the original file, or we want to recover the files before the updated record. So in the log file is like the, we get the history, action history, and the recovery log also, how many records that got updated, how many records is not updated, everything we get into a in a history log. For that we use LDF file. And third file is generated, it is optional, is nothing but the NDF, like the extra storage extension space. When this space, when we create the, when MDF file is the created, store like the object store. Object is nothing but like, we have a tables, view, function, procedures that we learn in this series. This object is got stored into a MDF. After the disk space over the CPU or RAM got full, optionally NDF, secondary space, got generated into a database, and in this space, in the optional space, data gets stored. Hello guys, now I have opened the SSMS, like the SQL client tools basically used to connect with the database. So they have given like the menu files, edit, views, query, project, tools, window. This menu is given. We will explore one by one in when we go through this playlist. So we, here is the database name is a given. Like when we, if you want to open the new query window, this new query is there. To execute the query, to send the request to database, executes is there. In here we have, in the left hand side we have object explorer. In object explorer, if you see in a object explorer we have like local data, local server. So this is the LPT, this is the server names I have created in I have created in my local Windows machines. In a local machines we have a database. In a system database means I have installed SSMS. Also I have installed SQL engine. That time these four database had created by default, like the temp-db, like the temporary database. Master database is the created when I have installed SQL Server engine. So in a master database, if you see, we have a different object, like the we have a tables, views, programmability. In a programmability, we have a store features function. This everything we will learn one by one in this series. So this is the overview, or this is the UI of SSMS. Let's create the database in a local server that we have present in a object explorer window. For creating a database into a SSMS, we are going to use the command like create database and the database name. So database and database name, I am giving the SQL Mastery. So let's create the server, create the database into a server. Let's run the command using the execute button. So here you can see in a message box, this is the command completed successfully. Let's see in our local server, this database has been created or not. So I am refreshing the database window, and let's see the database is the created or not. So you can see in a SQL Mastery, this database is the created under server. Have created the database in a local server. So let's see, when we create the database in a servers, MDF and a LDF file got generated. So let's see in the servers, MDF and a LDF file has been generated or not. So let's see in a property. In a property we have like the root dictionary. Let's copy root dictionary. So control C to go to the folder. Let's paste that dictionary, root dictionary, and here in a data, let's right click on this and open in a new tab. Okay, as you can see, this two file has been generated, like the SQL mastery and also SQL mastery log. If you see that in a property, if you see that file extension, you can see this is the MDF file has been generated. And if you see for the log file, there is also LDF extension here. So when we create the database, MDF and a LDF file has been generated into local database. If you found this content helpful, please like, share, subscribe to our channel. Thank you.